What's going down? Here we go on a Tuesday. Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. Welcome into the show. I am your host, Jeff Michael, here on Sports with Balls. Thank you guys for tuning in. Happy Tuesday to everybody. It's been a beautiful week here. First off, before we get the show going too much, I want to say, look, if you're in the path of that hurricane, you're paying attention to this, whatever they tell you to leave, get out. That thing looks nasty. So, just move. Anybody near Tampa, just get out the way. I already saw traffic was built up a little bit over there. I was thinking about heading that direction, actually. We'll get into that later. But welcome into Sports with Balls. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today on this, what do we got? October the 8th. What a man, 22 days till Halloween, and then all the festivities begin. We all know that. I am rocking the UT hat today, University of Texas. We'll explain that later. Obviously, we'll get into the NCAA and the rankings and some of the college games that went over this weekend. What an incredible weekend for sports. Just an incredible weekend for sports. Excited to sit here and talk about it, actually. The MLB playoffs is insane, and it's awesome. NBA basketball preseason has ramped up. They started. You've got the NFL with incredible games this weekend. Well, I say incredible. There's about 2 or 3 that were fun to watch. But you also had the NCAA with a historic Saturday afternoon. So let's start the show off like we always do on the holidays. October the 8th, where we got National Pierogi Day. All right. Ada Lovelace Day. All right. Alvin C. York. American Touch Tag Day. So get outside, play with your kids, touch tag. Dyslexia Day. International Birth Registration Day. Newspaper Carrier Day. Like Fluffer Nutter Day. National Fluffer Nutter Day. The hell? Peanut butter and marshmallow fluff squished between 2 slices of bread. What? All right. National Face Your Fears Day. Here we go. Somebody told me one day that the fear of talking in front of people is more or worse than the fear of death. Really? National Heroes Day. You're welcome. National Salmon Day. We'll have that tonight. World Octopus Day. There you go. Bruno Mars' birthday. Chevy Chase. A couple of other guys. Grayson Allen. It's his birthday today. Any other athletes? Matt Damon. His birthday. Nick Cannon. I bring Nick Cannon up because of, what's Nick Cannon famous for now? Babies? Making babies? And The Miz. Ugh. Well, anyways, welcome to the show. Jeff Michael here with you. If you're tuning in on the podcast, I appreciate you guys tuning in always. No matter when you're listening, make sure you go to Sports with Balls on all your social media outlets. Check it out. It's a lot of fun, man. Millions and millions of people commenting, reacting on all the posts that I put up there. It's a blast, man. But got to thank some people before we get the show going. Christian's Tailgate Bar and Grill. There are 4 Houston area locations. Go to christianstailgate.com. Find one near you. Amazing place to go watch the games, get some drinks, have some fun with some peeps. Get to christianstailgate.com and go in there. It's awesome. Lunch. They're open for lunch. I think they open at 10 o'clock. It's awesome. Also, Butler CCS. Listen, that hurricane is going into Florida. There's a lot of damage here in Houston still from tornadoes and hurricanes. He's specializes in fire, water, mold, and roofing. Master water restorer certified. Tons and tons and tons of certifications. Go visit Butler CCS INC. Check out Wesley Butler and his company. Let them help you. Or go to Sports with Balls and on your social media outlets. All the info will be up there as well. All right, man. What are we getting into today first? Let's start with baseball. In this Dodgers and Padres series. Wow. Dave Roberts is pissed off at Manny Machado, thinking that he threw it says he threw a ball into the dugout at him. Come on, man. Really? I saw the video. I'm not convinced that Manny Machado did that. Whoa, excuse me. I'm not convinced at all that Manny Machado threw a ball into the Dodgers dugout. But I will say the chippiness between these two teams who are neighbors in the state of California is uncanny, and I love it. The rivalry between the Padres and Dodgers is phenomenal. If you're MLB and in the business of the MLB, this is awesome. You could not ask for anything better. Talk about two teams that literally hate each other. It's great for baseball. It's great for everything. I love what this is. The Dodgers Padres series. I know there's 50 days, 50 straight days of football. We'll get into that later on television. But if you're looking for entertainment, the Dodgers Padres series is it. People are throwing beers at Jordan Jorkson Profar in the outfield. You've got Manny Machado throwing balls apparently at managers. They're hitting. The Dodgers are hitting Fernando Tatis Jr. You've got Shohei Ohtani. It's just this is theater. It is awesome. I love it. Obviously fans, I want the fans to be a little bit lighter. I'm not a big fan of throwing stuff at players on the field. That is uncalled for. But you talk about absolute theater in baseball. The Dodgers Padres series is awesome. Look, if baseball's not, if you're not interested in a football game that's on at night, turn it to one of these games and you're not going to miss out. It is obviously one of the great series that we have going on right now. Fun to watch. As of right now, the series goes. The Yankees lost. Well, let's tune into last night, right? Tigers beat the Guardians 3-0, tied it up at 1-1. The Royals beat the Yankees in New York, tied that series up at 1-1. Sunday night, you had the Phillies over the Mets. That series tied at 1-1. And now you have the Padres and the Dodgers series tied up at 1-1. This is the first time in the history, I believe, in baseball that we've had all four series tied at 1-1. Great baseball. Now, moving on to today. Aaron Nola take on Sean Manaea at 4:08 p.m. in New York as the Phillies travel to the Mets. Right now, it's about dead even. It's Phillies minus 110 or Mets minus 110. It looks like there may be some rain there, so just keep your eye on that if you're gambling. I'm not touching the MLB playoffs right now as far as gambling is concerned. There's just too much. There's too much going on, dude. Like, it's just fun. And then tonight, and in San Diego, which will be absolutely rocking, you've got the Dodgers at the Padres. Walker Buehler and Mr. King tipping off Michael King. That will be at 8 p.m. And if you're not invested in any game, there's an NCAA game on tonight. But if you're not invested in any of that, this game tonight is must-see TV. The Padres fans will be going absolute berserk. And, man, honestly, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's roll. Other than that, Aaron Judge is striking out at a historic pace. I don't know what to tell you. Aaron Judge, he finally got a hit. I think his first hit of the postseason last night. He has been striking out unbelievably at an unbelievable rate. It's strikeout or home run with Aaron Judge 50% of the time. If I'm a Yankee fan, not really happy with that. It is what it is. But Aaron Judge not playing postseason baseball. If I'm a Yankee fan, I'm scared right now. I believe that Kansas City has a really, really good shot of upsetting the Yankees. And if you're baseball, you don't want that. Because right now, the series that everybody's tuning into is Padres-Dodgers. You want the Yankees-Dodgers rivalry. You want that. You want East Coast, West Coast. But right now, the Padres look like they don't have the upper hand. Don't get me wrong. But as far as the Yankees are concerned, Kansas City, Bobby Witt Jr. is a phenom. He is a superstar in MLB. I'm excited that he came on the stage this year. I've got a bunch of his rookie cards behind me, so that's one of the reasons. But Kansas City is a good team. A really, really, really good team. So these MLB playoff games are going to be phenomenal. I don't have a dog in the fight, not anymore. So I'm just rooting for good baseball. I would love to see Yankees and Dodgers for the star power. Padres and Yankees would be fun too. Kansas City and Padres would be fun. Phillies, not for me, man. I've seen them too much. Yeah, a lot of their players are just kind of, I don't know. They're, of course, Bryce Harper's superstar, but they don't do it for me. The Phillies don't. The Mets would be a great storyline. Tigers would be a great story. Cleveland, they're the quietest great team in MLB all year. They've just been cruising along. But right now, all series tied at 1-1. So it's anybody's ballgame. Nobody has the upper hand. So it is what it is. That's your breakdown of Major League Baseball. Derek Carr last night. Let's move on to the NFL. Derek Carr last night, I don't know, bleak. He left the game. They lose 13-26. Kansas City is 5-0, guys. Cruising. Absolutely cruising football. It looks really easy for them right now. They lost Tyreek Hill. They go on to win a Super Bowl. They lose Rashid Rice, who that guy was awesome, which, by the way, there's an update on his injury. We'll get into that. And they just cruising. Kelsey finally had a decent game last night. Juju Smith-Schuster, great game. I don't know how you're going to beat these guys, especially if they get back healthy. Xavier Worthy had a good game. They're pretty damn good. They're well coached. They're disciplined. I get it. The referee issues, like everybody thinks that the refs are on their side. I'm sure it may have something to do with that, but they're good. You got to beat them. You're going to have to beat them. And in Kansas City, you're not going to do that. Not right now. Let's see their next games. Let's look ahead at the Chiefs' schedule. Let's see. Ravens, Bengals, Falcons, Chargers, Saints. All W's. They got the 49ers, who are unpleasantly not good. Very, very iffy 49ers team. Obviously, major injuries on that entire team, which has hurt them. They should get a W there. It's in San Francisco. Then they're at the Raiders. Maybe 2 W's in there. Buccaneers, Broncos, Bills, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers. They're already in the playoffs, guys. I'll just say it right now. I'm looking at their schedule. Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans. I'll get into the Texans in a little bit. The Chiefs are already in the playoffs. They could literally play 50% football, and they have already made the playoffs. Their schedule just lines. They got to play the Raiders. That's a W. Broncos, that's a W. Panthers, that's a W. Raiders again, that's a W. Browns, that's a W. Texans, that's a W. They're in the playoffs. It's already over. The Chiefs are in the playoffs because they started 5-0. Even with major injuries. They can absolutely put this stuff on cruise control. Unless Pat Mahomes goes down with an injury, Kansas City Chiefs may be in the AFC Championship game already. I'm not going to count it that bad, but they look really, really, really good. On the flip side of that coin, the New Orleans Saints, who went on an absolute tear the first 2 games of the season, beating the Panthers 47-10, beating the Cowboys 44-19 in Dallas, have absolutely got their throat punched the last 3 weeks. Eagles, tough loss. Falcons, tough loss. And then get donkey kicked last night by the Chiefs. Granted, they lost their quarterback for a little bit, but man, after those 2 impressive wins, they've scored 12, 24, and 13. They've got the Buccaneers, tough matchup. They've got the Broncos after that. Should be an okay game for them, maybe get their feet back, but then they're at the Chargers, and then they got Panthers, Brown. They got an easy schedule too. Wow, really easy. Broncos, Panthers, Browns, Rams, Giants. I would say the Commanders, but Jaden Daniels, my goodness. Saints could put together some wins too and get back to 500 and look a little better. The last 3 games have been really, really bad for them. Especially after that start. They looked great. Fantasy football people, I'm sorry. I'm there with you. The injuries in fantasy football, every year has injuries. We all know that. But the injuries this year in fantasy football are absolutely absurd. Tua's going down. That basically means everybody out of the Dolphins. You have the running back. You have running backs galore going down. Wide receivers are out. It's just bad. Just real bad. All right, let's go over the rest of the games over this weekend. Thursday, of course, Falcons beat the Bucs. Great football game. Kirk Cousins threw 509 yards. My goodness. 42 of 58, 509, 4 touchdowns in a career day on the day that Matt Ryan gets put in the Ring of Honor in Atlanta. Wow, broke his record. Way to go, Kurt. The Minnesota Vikings played in London, and they absolutely continue to cruise through the NFL. The other 5-0 team, the Minnesota Vikings, guys, they are real. They are absolutely real. Sam Darnold and a 5-0 Minnesota Vikings. Unbelievable. Bears. Caleb Williams steadily improving. I'm not going to give him too much clout. They played the Panthers, guys. Come on. Don't get it twisted. But his passer rating has improved each game over the first 5, and he looks a little better. After the first 2 weeks, people were ready to throw in the towel on Caleb Williams, but he actually looks really good. DJ Moore stepping it up, 5 receptions, 105 and 2 touchdowns. So Bears look okay. 3-2, 3-0 at home. Not bad. Ravens beat the Bengals in a classic 79 points scored in that game, 41-38. Overtime field goal. Joe Burrow. Guys, I know the Bengals are 1-4. Joe Burrow's season is phenomenal. He was 30 of 39, 392 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And they lost. This is not Joe Burrow's fault. Go through his games. He's phenomenal this year. I think it's 9 or 11 touchdowns and 2 picks. One of those was a ricochet. Joe Burrow's been phenomenal. He has. This is not Joe Burrow's fault. Joe Burrow is playing lights out football. Jamar Chase, 193 and 2 touchdowns. Woo! The Bengals just have no defense. They're a good. The offense of the Bengals is pretty damn good. They lost to the Patriots, but then they got beat by Chiefs. They got beat by a really good Commanders team. They beat the Panthers, and then they lost to a really good Ravens team. Their next games are Giants, should be a W. Browns should be a W. Eagles, good game. Raiders should be a W. Then they face the Ravens again. Maybe they can get it back together. I don't know. But as far as offensively, Joe Burrow is playing lights out. He probably has some of the best statistics in all of football this year. And it sucks that they're 1-4. They're 0-3 at home. It just absolutely sucks because Burrow is playing lights out football. Dolphins win over the Patriots 15-10. I hate that, man. I hate that Tua's out. I don't know if he'll come back. I highly, highly doubt it. But the Dolphins were a good team. And offensively, especially fantasy football-wise, man, sucks. Washington Commanders have found their dude. Jaden Daniels, man. This guy is going off. 82 rushing yards this past weekend. 238 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Finally getting a hold of Terry McLaurin now. Man, if this guy finds his guys, the Washington Commanders are 4-1. 4-1. Granted, I know they played the Browns, and that situation with Deshaun Watson is brutal. That is one of the worst contracts, if not the worst we've ever seen, and is going in a downhill spiral very, very, very fast. Now, Deshaun Watson did settle the case that was pending. His lawyers came out yesterday and said that case is done. Settlement stuff will stay disclosed. The lady's name will stay disclosed, Jane Doe. But when do you cut Deshaun Watson loose? Joe Flacco should have been or was the MVP of the league last year. Or not MVP, sorry, comeback player of the year. And you didn't even re-sign him. Joe Flacco was balling for the Cleveland Browns last year, and they did not re-sign him. That is, to me, unreal. And now you've got Deshaun Watson, and they're 1-4. And Watson, when I say bad football, this is horrible football. The Browns are almost unwatchable. Deshaun Watson is an absolute disaster. I've been saying it over and over. If you listen to the show, I can't tell you how many times I've said it. His mental ability to play football is gone. He may be physically able to still play football, but ever since that stuff happened in Houston, mentally, Deshaun Watson cannot play the quarterback position. It takes somebody very, very mentally strong to play that position. And the hardest position in all the NFL, Deshaun Watson is mentally not there. He is gone. And so is that Cleveland Browns team. I don't know what you do. I don't know if you bench him. I have no idea how you do what you do, but it's awful. It's awful football. His quarterback rate, his QBR is 22.4. Whoa. Who do they have up next? The Eagles. That's a loss. Then the Bengals. Bengals will get it together. That's a loss. The Ravens. That's a loss. Chargers. That's a loss. Then the Saints, if they're playing, that's a loss. I don't know when they're going to win next. Maybe the Broncos on December the 2nd. It doesn't look good. They may have 2 wins this year. 3 if they're lucky. They're 1-4. Just a brutal start for Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Not going to sit here and say he deserves it. He may, but it is. You don't blame this on the coaches. You blame this on the franchise. You signed Deshaun Watson. You gave away basically the whole damn system for this guy, and he's destroying you. That whole situation with him walking off the field this past weekend, he didn't walk off the field, folks. There was 12 guys in the huddle, so he was walking off that way. I will give him credit on that. But on the flip side of that, Browns played the Commanders. The Commanders are going the complete opposite direction. They found their guy. They got a running back. They got a quarterback. They got a wide receiver. Man, Commanders are a tough team. They're a tough team. I like them a lot. And, of course, later on this week, we'll get into the games coming up. And, by the way, won some money this past weekend, so listen to my picks. Colts and Jags, boring football game, whatever. Trevor Lawrence got his first W this week. On his birthday, by the way. 28-34, 371, 2 touchdowns. Great. Tank Bigsby was the, I guess, shocker in this game. They are sitting Travis Etienne Jr. Not sitting him, but he's not playing. He's not getting the carries like Bigsby is. Bigsby tore it up, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on 13 carries. Bigsby played very well. Travis Etienne Jr. should have been the guy. But, look, if they found a spark in Bigsby, maybe they'll leave him. All right, the game that everybody wanted to talk about earlier yesterday and on Sunday, the Bills at the Houston Texans. All right, guys. There's a lot of people in Houston that aren't going to like this. I am not ready to sit here and say the Houston Texans are a contender in the NFL. Not at all. The Bills were beaten up. It was 20-3 at one point. The Bills came back, tied it up 20-20, and of course, Fairbairn kicked a field goal to win the game. If you go back to the games of the regular season on the Houston Texans, they barely beat an undeniably bad Colts team, 29-27. They beat the Bears and Caleb Williams' second start in the NFL. They got absolutely crushed by the Minnesota Vikings, who are a playoff team, a good football team. They barely beat. In fact, I don't even want to say they beat the Jaguars. I know it was a W. The Jaguars had a chance to run out the clock. They did not. Texans get the ball back, score again, and beat the Jaguars on the last 2 minutes of the game. And one of the worst teams in the NFL. So they won on the last second drive against the Jags, where the Jags should have won, and they beat a Colts team who's absolutely terrible as well. And then you get an injured Bills team, and they won by 3 points after they let them come back on a 20-3 when they were up 20-3. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Houston Texans are a good football team. I'm not. Sorry. I know their record says 4-1, dude, but they have had a cakewalk. In fact, well, we'll have to look at that later. I'll bring it up. I'll look at the schedule difficulty for the Houston Texans. It doesn't look good. And people are going to say, well, the Texans didn't play a complete game yet. Really? They were up 20-3 on the Bills. Should have been a blowout. They let them come back. I don't want to hear that. They've had running back issues, but they've had running back issues in the past. Their offensive line is not that good. They've got penalty issues. I'm just sorry. I'm not on the I know you're going to be pissed. I'm not on the Texans bandwagon, dude. I'm not there. They play the Patriots this coming up weekend. I'm interested in that game. Then they go to the Packers. They play the Colts again, the Jets. Listen to their schedule. They got the Colts again. They got the Patriots, who are terrible. They got the Colts, who are terrible. The Jets, who are terrible. The Titans, who are terrible. The Jaguars, who are terrible. And then the Titans again, who are terrible. Now, mixed in, the Dolphins, who are terrible. They've only got 5 games left that are actually games that they could possibly have trouble and lose. That's it. The Texans have 5 games that they may lose. The others, if they play just decent football, they're going to win. Their schedule is a cakewalk. Like, it's terrible. But we'll see. We'll see if they get beat up by the good teams. I would almost say the Texans are in the playoffs already. I mean, all it takes is 2 more wins. That division is the worst in football. Yeah, dude. I don't see how they don't make it. Patriots, Colts, Jets, Titans, Jaguars, Titans. You should win all those games. That puts you in the playoffs. Those are terrible football teams. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Houston Texans are a contender for the Super Bowl. In fact, first playoff game, I'd be worried. I'd be very, very worried if I was Houston Texans or Texan fan. We'll see. See how it all plays out. That's why they got to play the games. All right, Raiders at the Broncos. Broncos looked good. Bo Nix, 19-27, 206, 2 touchdowns. Him and Sean Payton arguing on the sideline. You love to see that. By the way, guys, the Raiders are absolutely throwing in the towel. They're going to trade Devontae Adams. And what I expect today, I don't know exactly where. Maybe he'll go back with Aaron. I don't know. We'll see. There's a few options there, but the Raiders are throwing in the towel for sure. It is a rebuild. So the big news out of that camp is where's Devontae Adams going to go? Cardinals beat the 49ers in a good football game. Brock Purdy, 19-35, 244, 1 touchdown. Mason with 89 yards, no touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk came out, 8 receptions, 147. Cardinals 2-3, decent 2-3, and so are the 49ers. Packers beat the Rams. Packers look good, 3-2. The Rams injuries. The Rams are out of it. I believe they're pretty much done. Giants with a huge win. This was the only shocker of the entire weekend, was the Giants shocking the Seattle Seahawks. An absolute shocker. I can't put a read on the New York Giants at all. It's so weird. It's so weird. Seahawks are 3-2, Giants 2-3. Let's go into the standings real quick. We're running a little short on time. Bills are still the top of the AFC East, 3-2. Jets, Dolphins, Patriots all below. Ravens and Steelers tied at 3-2, AFC North. Texans blowing everybody out in the AFC South. I just talked about. Indianapolis Colts are the closest to them with 2 wins and 3 losses. That everyone in that division, every team in that division has a negative run differential or negative score differential, however you want to put it. Texans are -12. There goes exactly what I was talking about. The Texans are -12 differential, worse than the Titans. Titans are only -11. Do not be that's exactly my point of where the Texans stand. You guys be careful about putting them up there. Kansas City Chiefs 5-0, AFC West, of course, they're killing it. Broncos right behind them at 3-2, not bad. Washington Commanders in the NFC East, 4-1, over and with a +40 differential, by the way, a +40 differential over the Dallas Cowboys, who have a -4 differential and a 3-2 record. Wow. Shocker so far of the season. Minnesota Vikings 5-0. Detroit Lions 3-1. They're let's see. Yep. They had a bye. Atlanta Falcons 3-2. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-2 in the NFC South. NFC West, Seattle Seahawks still holding on to 3-2. Arizona Cardinals behind them because they won 2-3. 49ers at 2-3 as well. Football season is just now starting to really get into full swing. We're 5 games in, and we're starting to see cream rise to the top. We're starting to see teams really kind of slack off and throwing in the towel, i.e. Patriots, i.e. Jaguars, i.e. Raiders, i.e. Panthers, and the Rams. Those are teams that are just, I doubt they just don't have it in them anymore. They all are going for draft picks and maybe Shedeur Sanders. We'll see. All right, NCAA. Oh, man. Hence my hat. The University of Texas has moved up to number 1 because Georgia is now 4-1 and Alabama is now 4-1, dropping 6 spots to number 7 after Vanderbilt handed them their first L and the first ever top seed win in Vandy in the school's history. And what they do, carry the goalpost to the river, which was amazing. Ohio State's number 2, Oregon. Oregon and Penn State are now 3 and 4. Wow. This is in the AP coaches poll. Oregon's 3, Penn State's 5. Oregon looks good. There's I need to get over Heisman Trophy watches. But man, these playoffs, people don't realize that we have an NCAA playoff coming. That is absolutely unbelievable. I wish I could cuss more on the show. I cannot wait for that. Listen to these teams: Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Georgia, Miami, Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Clemson. I mean, Iowa State's even 5-0. The playoff is going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. Notre Dame's at number 12 at 4-1. LSU 13 at 4-1. BYU is 14th in the nation. Are they going to sneak in there? Texas A&M's 15 at 5-1. Will they sneak in there? The Indiana Hoosiers are 18th ranked in the nation at 6-0. Are they going to sneak up in the playoffs? I mean, wow. Michigan is 24th now, down 14 spots. They're 4-2. SMU, 25th in the nation at 5-1. Guys, the NCAA is going to be phenomenal. Now, who's got the hardest road? By far, the University of Texas. They have got to play. Oh, dude, they got 3 brutal games coming up. They've got the Red River Rivalry coming up this weekend in Dallas, which maybe I'll go to, maybe I won't. At 2:30, that's going to be awesome. Then, right after that, that's this weekend. 7 days later, they played number 5 Georgia in a huge football game. Then they got it a little bit easy. I would say Vanderbilt's easy. They just beat Alabama, though. Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, and then at the end of the season, the Longhorns will renew their rivalry with Texas A&M, and an absolute monster football game coming up in College Station on November the 30th. I cannot wait. I'm going to that game. That will be awesome. But Longhorns got to go into Dallas, play Oklahoma. Then they've got to play Georgia at home. And then at the end of the season, they've got Texas A&M. Now, obviously, they win out. If they could lose one of those games, and they're still in the playoffs, obviously. They win out, they'll be number 1 ranked. But tough schedule for the University of Texas. Guys, listen, if y'all missed anything on this show, podcast version coming straight up right after I get off of here. But it's been a hell of a show. We went over Major League Baseball playoffs. We went over the NFL schedule. NFL games this past weekend, and then just dived into the NCAA a little bit. I'll have more for you guys tomorrow and or Thursday, but I'm Jeff Michael. This is Sports with Balls. We'll see you tomorrow.